Alright, before I show this next update, I'm just going to let you know the truck is not running. It's not done. I still got to put the valve covers back on it. As you see in the video, I'm modifying them and I'm just doing it myself instead of sending them to have someone else do it. It's taking a little bit of my time. I do work a 40-hour work week. The reason I was able to get the engine in and everything else done last week, I took a week's vacation just to do this job. It's just basically me working on this project. I do get some help from my dad, but for the most part it's me. I don't even know if it'll be done next week. I only get to work on it a couple nights a week right now the way it's going. I've got a lot of other stuff going on, so stick with me. I promise to get it done. I would say next week, but I said that last week, so I'm not going to say that again, but we'll see what happens. Alright, I've gotten a couple suggestions on YouTube about going with a hydro boost system on the truck for the brakes to give me more room for my valve covers, but I'd already kind of started working on all the vacuum stuff needed to make the vacuum brakes work. So went ahead and made a vacuum canister here, painted it black. It's made out of an old drive shaft tube that was thrown in the trash, and then the end pieces I welded on here, just some like flat 1/8 inch plate that I found in the back of a car at a junkyard. So I use that. So basically I have the price of the welding rod in this, and the connector, and the switch, the vacuum switch. This comes on at 22 inches, or it comes on at 18 inches and shuts off at 22 inches. So basically I have 30 bucks in this whole thing for my vacuum canister versus like 80 bucks online. And then I'm going to drill holes in the cross member where this is going to mount underneath the truck. Put some of these 5/16 flange nuts on there, recess them into the frame a little bit, and then weld them in. And I'll do the same thing for the vacuum pump. I'll show you how I'm doing that. Alright, here we are underneath the truck. I was going to show you how I'm going to mount this vacuum canister. It will sit up in there like that. I already got my holes drilled, and then I use a really big drill bit to catch the flange part of the nut. And here's how the nuts fit up in there. I got that hole plenty big to accept the flange, and then I'll grind off that paint around there, and then I'll put a little bead on there and then grind it back off. So they'll be in there like that. Perfect fit, actually. Alright, I'm getting ready to weld these nuts in. Whenever you weld, clean your metal. I see people on YouTube all the time welding up rusty metal or metal with paint on it. It doesn't work. If you can't weld, you definitely can't weld with paint on metal. Remember that. Clean the rust. Clean, clean, clean. Alright, I got the tank mounted on the cross member like I wanted. I'll come back a little later and repaint that cross member right there where it's got some grinder marks on it. Paint it back black. A little dust there, but come out pretty good. There's my electrical switch back there that I got to run a wire into. And then there's where the vacuum lines will come off of right there. I'm going to mount the pump on the back side and then just run the line right across to the vacuum canister right there. Alright, I got the vacuum pump mounted in there. I still got to paint the bracket. Did a similar thing to this bracket as I did to the vacuum tank bracket. I still got to run my lines. I saved all the lines off the old car so I can reuse part of them, run from there. And then I'll either go in here or I'll spin that, go in here, come out there. I'm not sure which way I'm going to go yet, but do some more figuring on that, and then I'll paint my cross member back up where I ground it down, and then run the vacuum line up in there somewhere. I also have to redo my hard fuel line because it was set up for the other intake. It goes along here, along the transmission, and then over there. Make up a new line. They'll look better with the intake. Actually go to the right spot. This would work, but it just doesn't go to the right spot. I have a different plan on the valve covers now. My plan is to pull them back off, cut off the coil stands right there, and then make up some new coil stands in a place where the coil will fit and not interfere with anything. That way I can keep these valve covers, because I really have nothing else to do with these valve covers other than sell them. So I'm not going to be out anything. I'll just go ahead and cut them, polish it back out, and then weld on some new stands. I'm going to mill these down real quick, get them close, and then I'll finish them off with a grinder and sander, polish them out, and then hopefully tomorrow I'll get some stands and I can figure out where they need to be and get them located. Alright, now it's time to finish them off with a grinder. Alright, I got these ground down and used 800 grit paper on them. I'm going to put them on the buffer and see if I can't get that shine back. Alright, there's the final product all polished up. Looks just about the same as the other part. I'll do a little more polishing on it later. Now I got to do the other side. Alright, with the little stands for the coils cut off the valve cover, I have to make some new stands. So I had some solid aluminum bar stock I cut out here, and I'm going to get them down to this size, bolt a coil to it, and then figure out where I need these to sit. So I'll show you how I turn these on the mill, because I don't have a lathe. I'll show you how I turn those on the lathe, or the mill. And then I'll probably tack these on. I probably won't weld them because I'm very, very amateur at TIG welding, especially aluminum, and this is cast, and it's a lot different to weld than good aluminum, like 6061. So I'll probably end up having someone else weld these. We'll see. Alright, what I do here is I chuck up the piece of aluminum in the mill, and then I have a Harbor Freight fly cutter that I just use the cutter part of it, and then I just use the drill press action up and down and cut off the metal I don't need. Here we go. I decided to give it the old college try and welded cast aluminum for the first time ever. It didn't come out too bad. Not as bad as I expected. I started in on it and thought I was going to be horrible, so I was just going to tack it. And I kind of decided to keep going and ended up getting it. So I wouldn't call myself a TIG welder, but I will call myself a grinder. So I'll grind that baby down, polish her out. Should look somewhat close to factory by the time I get it done. And there's the other side, same way. This second one I did actually came out just a little bit better than the other side. So I'll grind it all down, polish her out. You can see I also had to lower the coil. And I'll show you how it fits on the truck here. Alright, there it is installed on the truck. As you can see, I got a little bit of room between the booster, and I can still get to the bolts on the coil. So mission accomplished. I got to plug that hole there for the PCV, and then I have to weld in a fitting up here for the catch can, and then this valve cover will be ready to polish out.